Welcome back to the Shades of Green radio show on KDWN 720 AM in Las Vegas. Our guests today are Rick Gilliam, Program Director of Regulatory Policy for Vote Solar, as well as Dan Turner and Scott Shaw from One Sun Solar. If listeners have questions for our guests, the call-in number at KDWN 720 AM is 702-257-5396. That's 702-257-5396. Gentlemen, we've been talking about the rooftop solar industry and kind of the history and development of it out here in southern Nevada, where we have 300 days of sunshine a year. So it's a really good fit for our area here. There's a trade show at Mandalay Bay Convention Center going on this week called Solar Power International. The Mandalay Bay Convention Center rooftop has something like 23,000 solar panels to generate 8.3 megawatts of solar power that operate about 25% of the requirements for the convention center there.
It's another, tidbit is it is the largest rooftop solar system in the world.
Wow, that's amazing. Yeah, good for MGM for taking the lead on that and putting us as a benchmark for the utility industry and for the solar power industry. So basically, there's a lot of other energy initiatives coming up next year. During 2018, we will have a repeat vote on the Nevada Energy Choice Initiative. During this whole shakeout time with that rooftop solar industry was going on, MGM, Caesars, Sands Convention Center, Switch all opted to actually leave the NV Energy utility and go out on their own to purchase their own power independently of the utility. And they got that request through another law that was enacted around 2000 when there was a lot of problems with basically energy industry in general was having a downturn, and there were some scandals, Enron, the California scandals that were going on over there, rate hikes. So that law is still in effect, and these big companies have taken advantage of that, and they're paying money. I think MGM had to pay about $73 million to exit, and they're all being paying some money to offset their ability to leave the grid so that they can still use the transmission lines and the distribution networks. But that choice may come up next year for everybody else. Just wanted to see how that would affect the rooftop solar industry going forward and what we might expect along those lines.
That's a very interesting question. It's what we call a restructured market, where there are other entities in the market selling power, and NV Energy is not, depending on how it's set up, is not actually owning the generation. So in a way, it could be a real boon to solar. But then we still have to deal with NV Energy as the distribution company, the company that owns the local power lines. And so we still will be facing some of the same issues that we face today, and we will not be done with the PUC yet. Right,
and in that kind of situation, a local consumer would get two bills, one from NV Energy to handle the carrier for the transmission and distribution if you're still connected to the grid, but then you would get a separate bill from the energy provider, the source of that energy, and you could have choices. You could have either cheapest energy or green renewable energy and things like that. So if that does happen and people choose a second time to vote for this Energy Choice Initiative in 2018, that will shake it all up again, I guess.
I think it'll be an exciting time. I'm from the UK, and we do have Energy Choice, but even in the UK we had a big six, and they monopolised the market until, say, 5 years ago. They had about 95% of the market, and they couldn't really be touched. They had big sway with politicians.
Right.
But in recent years, there's been a lot more smaller, mid-sized companies who've come in, and their market share's dropped now to around 85%, which is a big chunk down in that time. And people have moved away because they're getting better customer service, and they like to know where their energy comes from. A lot of these smaller companies are focusing on renewables, so solar and wind in the UK, and if you're in Nevada, you could go for geothermal as well.
Yes.
So they're focusing on that, and people like to know where their energy is coming from. They like to know it's green energy and they can be sustainable. So they've come in and they've offered that, something the big companies didn't. And
more choice.
People are a lot happier with it. Even in the UK, I also worked on community energy. So these are small-sized projects, a bit like solar gardens here.
Right.
But communities would set up their own utility, essentially. It might be quite small, maybe 1 megawatt, but there's lots of governance options there, and there's a lot of benefits to that. People know where their energy comes from. Schools and stuff will go around. They'll learn a lot about how it's generated and the benefits of this. And there's also community benefits financially. They'll usually set aside maybe 5% of any profits, and they'll go straight back into community projects. So if Energy Choice were to come in, there's a lot of unknowns.
Right, yes.
Nobody quite knows how it's going to come in. But it would open up a lot of governance options and the chance for other companies to come in and offer something a bit different to what NV Energy does.
Right, another shakeout time, but if done right, I guess it can provide a lot of opportunities, possible new job industries as well. That's fantastic. Basically, just wanted to make a announcement as we're getting towards the end of the show. For our Green Alliance of Southern Nevada, we're hosting a Green Tie event on September 21st, 2015. I think that's a Thursday night from 5:30 to 8:30 p.m. It'll be at the Water's Edge. It's a custom home that was built in McDonald Highlands by Sunwest Custom Homes, and it's a way to showcase energy efficiency, good water usage, just some really nice, interesting custom home designs, things like motorized pocket doors that turn the inside part of the home into an outside patio that drops over infinity edge swimming pool to a tremendous panoramic view of the Las Vegas Valley. So the event can be found at a Green Alliance website, greenalliancenv.org. Please register there. For members, I think it's a $20 admission. For non-members, $30. But you'll get a tremendous meal from Chef Kaz, who's doing a demonstration on organic cooking, but tasty organic cooking. So that should be kind of interesting, as well as a chance to network with a lot of people and learn more about how to do sustainable building. So there's a rooftop solar system there as well, and even I think a charging station for electric cars. So there's all sorts of nice innovative work that's been done by Sunwest here, and looking forward for green building in our community here. So I wanted to thank you all. Any last comments about the solar industry now and the solar power?
I just wanted to mention we've talked a lot about the fallout in the solar industry and the problems over the last few years. And while this may not really be a benefit to the citizens of Nevada, there has been attention paid to this across the country. And as a result, I can't tell you how many people I've talked to in other states, politicians in particular, that say, we don't want another Nevada happening here.
Oops.
So there has been some positive benefits across the country as a result of your pain.
Kind of what not to do.
Yeah, what not to do.
Yeah, we're not the only ones, though. I've seen some things happen in Hawaii and Arizona that have been benchmarks also, indeed, I think, yes. No, that's great. Thank you so much for being on our show today. And if you get a chance to check out the Solar Power International trade show going on in Mandalay Bay and their solar panels, it's a great thing. Thank you so much. And also want to remember September 11th today and why we do this.